Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. You're knowing what you are wanting?
Yes.
Desire feels good, yes?
Yes.
Desire that you believe feels good. Desire that you doubt, not so good. But it's good to develop habits of you being able to make yourself feel good around your desires, because your desires are going to continue to come. You can't stop them. It's nice to know that you are the creator of your own reality, isn't it? That you are the attractor of your own experience, and you do it through the offering of thought. Now we're using the word thought. We really prefer to use the word vibration, but thought is the closest thing that most of you can come to understand what vibration is. You are interpreting vibration at many levels of your being, and that's why your reality appears to you as it does. You translate vibration into sight and sound and taste and smell and touch. That's really what these senses are. They are vibrational interpreters, and your solar plexus interpret vibration too. That's what your emotions are. So we really want you to contemplate how you are interpreting vibration, because we want you to decide that you are first and foremost a vibrational being in a vibrational universe who vibrates and who responds to vibration. So what that really boils down to in very simplistic terms is that it's helpful for you when you are deliberate about what you think, because when you are deliberate about what you think, then you are deliberate about what you project vibrationally, which means you have some control over what comes back to you in vibrational response, because that's all that's happening. It's like the transmitting tower in the radio signal and the receiving. There's transmitting and receiving all the time. Well, you in your physical bodies are extensions of source energy, and source energy is transmitting to you at all times. And you are, if you are like most humans, receiving in variable degrees. In other words, sometimes you are so tuned to the frequency of your source that there's no disruption at all in the communication from your source to you. Now, if you're really good at that, we would call you instinctual beings, like you all call your beasts of your planet instinctual beings. In other words, they are really good at that. They are really good at mostly being tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the frequency of their source. And so when source presents to them an idea or an impulse, they follow it easily. So they are guided from broader perspective. Humans, mostly because you've been trained to believe that you're here to prove worthiness to that source energy, sort of want to go it alone. You don't want anybody bossing you around. And so you're out there just sort of having new experiences with, for the most part, very little regard to how the thought that you're thinking in any moment feels to you. You have adjusted to not feeling so good. It's just how it is. You would rather cope than think purposefully. We would rather that you think purposefully, because when you learn to contour your thoughts to the thoughts that feel the best, then you learn to hold yourself in this steady place of receiving the benefit of who you are, of receiving the fullness of what you've asked for. You didn't start just now or on the day that you were born into this body. You are long-term energy. You are consciousness here in this body once again for the thrill and the joy of expansion and creation. We have to say for the thrill and the joy of deliberate expansion and deliberate creation, because the creation that happens by default, while it has its benefits to a certain extent, It's not the joyful experience that you intended. You really, 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 really want to be deliberate creators. And so you've come with deliberate intent into this physical body with a unique difference between the energy that you sprang forth from and the you that arrived here in physical form. Here in physical form, it is your express desire to mix it up, to see as much as you can see, and to come to as many of your own personal conclusions and preferences as is possible in any period of time. In other words, that's what you came for, because you knew that as you explored and came to new conclusions about what you preferred, that you would then, we have a sort of strange rumble. Do you hear it? A sort of rumble. You hear it out of, maybe you can fix it. We'll keep talking anyway this time. Do you hear that rumble? It's sort of a deep rumble, sort of annoying deep rumble. Now, if this were your ordinary vibrational day, we would be asking you to just tune that out of your own process. In other words, don't ask the condition to change. Just find some way, there it's louder, of thinking around it. Just find some way of focusing yourself so that whatever it is that's bothering you doesn't bother you quite so much. Now, you might think that this is a prepared part of every seminar where we create something unwanted in the room. And then we teach you to not be bothered by it. That, however, is not the case. This is something that you have created in this room. So as you came forth into this physical body, you knew that you would explore, and that out of your exploration, you would come to unique and new conclusions about what you prefer. And as you come to those preferences about what you prefer, you emit a vibration about it, even if you're not talking out loud about it. Everything that annoys you makes you ask for improvement. Everything that frightens you makes you ask for improvement. Everything causes you to focus yourself into more and more clarity about what you prefer. Now, that's such a wonderful thing, because in the moment that you, in your physical form, emit this vibration about something that you prefer, even if you are a one-celled organism, even if you are a cell in a physical body, it doesn't matter what point of consciousness you are having exposure to life, and you are asking for improvement. That's what the evolution of all species is about. So when you ask for that improvement, whether you do it verbally or vibrationally, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously, you emit this vibrational request, and the source energy part of you, the part that existed before you came into this body and the part that still exists while you are in this body, takes note of what you're asking for, gives full attention to it, and holds a vibrational awareness of it, which makes it then possible and even likely for you in your physical form to find your way to that frequency. Did you notice how carefully we expressed that? We want to say this to you in a way that you hear it maybe uniquely for the first time in this gathering. When you launch a rocket of desire, it's not likely that you will continue to ride that rocket of desire and hold only to the desire that you have given birth to, because it was born out of your awareness of what you don't want, and what you don't want, therefore, is more likely your dominant vibration. Now, part of that is because as humans, we love you so much. You've trained yourself to defend what you want by pointing out how bad it is if you don't have it. You have become, by virtue of your society and your parenting and those others who surround you and whatever, you've become justifiers. I want that because it's so bad not to have it, is sort of your usual statement. I need it because I don't have it. Well, we want you to get over that as quickly as you can, because when you are defending or rationalizing or justifying your desire, you're not a vibrational match to your desire. You're remaining a vibrational match to the absence of your desire. And your desire cannot be realized by you as long as you are mostly a vibrational match to the absence of it. That's why things that you don't care that much about, that you just make a soft statement of preference about, come easily to you because you're not all wrapped up in the absence of it. Do you see what we're getting at? So if you can take away from this conversation that every subject is really two subjects, wanted and absence of it, and then you can just ask yourself the question whenever you're focused upon something that you want, are you really focused upon what you want, or are you focused upon the absence of what you want and using the absence of it as a justification for having it? Because if you're using the absence of it as your justification for having it, you can't have it. And isn't that terrible? Now you see, your mother, your grandmother, especially your grandmother, a lot of people who love you have trained you to really need something before they give up the goods. But we're talking about a universal flow of abundance and well-being. We're not talking about the paltry, minuscule, little piddly stuff that can be doled out by other humans from their bank account to yours. We're talking about you putting yourself in a vibrational position where you can receive the abundance that is showering down upon you all day, every day, by tuning your frequency to a receiving mode where you are aware, and therefore you have good timing. You're in the right place at the right time. You're in a place where you can hear it. How often, you know this, have you known someone who needed some encouragement or maybe even some advice that you were pretty good at giving, and they're asking and you're telling them exactly what to do, and you know it works because you did it, and you know it will work for them? You just know it. It's one of those things that is just consistent, and you speak the words and they argue for their limitations, and you speak the words and they argue for their limitations, and you speak the words and they argue for their limitations, and you speak the words and they argue for their limitations. Because they're not hearing you, you might as well not speak your words. Because if they're not in the receiving mode, which they never are when they're hurting, they're never in the receiving mode when they're in the problem mode. So here are some words that you could give to anyone who's in that problem mode, and it doesn't matter what their problem is. I love you so much, but there's no help for you. And so, dear heart, I think I will stop wasting my time by trying to talk you off the ledge, and I'll just let you go over the ledge, because there's something about you going over the ledge that might get your attention. Oh, that's too harsh. Let's start again. Dear heart, I love you so much, but nothing that I can say right now is going to be of any benefit to you, because you don't have your ears on. You can't hear what I'm saying. In fact, the fact that I know the answer to your problem makes you not really even like me that much. I can feel resentment coming up all around this conversation, because you think I'm a know-it-all, because I do know it all. And if you were in the vibrational vicinity, you would know that I know it all, and you would listen. But in the very dysfunctional state of being that I find you in, maybe we could say that better. Anyway, we're making a strong point with you that whether it's them or whether it's you, if you're not in the receiving mode, then there is really no point in offering words to try to fix it, because words really don't teach anyway. It's life experience that teaches. But if you have an understanding of what the receiving mode is anyway, in other words, when we talk about the receiving mode, when we speak of the receiving mode, what we're really talking about is you being in a place where you can hear or sense or know or receive guidance from your broader perspective. But in order for you to even begin listening for that, you've got to understand that there is guidance coming to you that you have access to and that you are worthy of.